Hello, welcome to Raymond Castile's Basement of Horror. Today we're going to look at knockoff monster figures by Sungold. Sungold, what a name. Sungold. Let's take one out here. Now, I haven't really looked at these figures or held them in my hand for years. And like everything else, they're still covered with dust. Let's put that over there. So this is the first time I've actually touched this thing in a long time. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. Sungold monster figures. That's obviously Frankenstein, but specifically he's called Green Frankie. At least he doesn't have a green jacket. That's nice, but he is Green Frankie. That's the character name. Now look at this crazy card art. That Frankenstein is going to mug you. He's not looking for a friend or throw lilies in the stream. He wants to mug you. Now that's supposed to be a mummy who's also going to mug you. Look at that weapon. He kind of looks like Rat King from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but he's supposed to be a mummy. Lots of green slime and barbed wire over this wall. It's got a very apocalyptic theme. That looks like the Toxic Avenger, but I think he's supposed to be Quasimodo. But I guess he's like a cross between Quasimodo and Toxic Avenger. There's a nice little green hand nailed to the brick wall. And behind Frank, I don't think you can see it, but it says "Help" in blood. It's written on the wall. Does it say just help or does it say help me? Let's take a look here. I think it says, what? See, I don't have a card like this with the bubble removed. There's like a mummy hand coming through the wall. I see help. I don't think it says me. I think it's just help. But there's something spray painted on the bottom. Is it beat it? Or beat something? I don't know. We've got Freddy Krueger's hand sticking through the wall down there. So look at this. You got Freddy Krueger's glove sticking through the brick wall. But then you've got intestines. See those? You got guts. What a weird wall. And this green slime reinforces this Toxic Avenger, Toxic Crusaders theme. All these figures sort of have a Playmates look to it. I'm sure these came out. We'll have to get a little more into this, but I'm sure these came out in the 90s after the Playmates Toxic Crusaders figure line to be compatible with the Turtles, Dick Tracy, and Toxic Crusaders, and so on. It definitely has a Playmates vibe, but this is like Playmates from the wrong side of the tracks. Playmates from the bad end of town. You can't trust these toys. But I think all this green goo everywhere is Toxic Avengers, Toxic Crusaders influenced. Let's look at the back. And you can see the different characters that are in the set. And you'll see all of these. They don't have names on this card, but they do have official names. We'll get into that. So there's Frankie. His name is Green Frankie. This is it's made in China. It says for ages 4 and up. And what's on the back here? Not suitable for children under 48 months. Made in China. Now pay attention to that blank spot right there. See that blank spot? We'll mention that again soon. Where is it? There it is. On the back, a little blank spot. Take note of all these things so I don't have to keep showing them again and again. I can just reference them later and you'll say, oh yeah, I remember when we saw that. Let's put him back. Everything I've been handling lately has just been covered with dust because I'm pulling out stuff that I haven't looked at in years and years and years and years. Well, what are these crazy things? They're called the Sungold Monsters, and as you saw with the card, see, I don't have to show it to you, you can remember seeing it. It just says monster. It doesn't say monsters. It doesn't say this kind of monster, that kind of monster. It just says monster. There's variants of these cards, and they don't all say the same thing. I wish I could tell you about Sungold, the company, but I don't have any information. I looked online, and all I could find on different websites were lists of the other action figure lines that Sungold is known to have made, and some very erroneous dates. I found a site that listed these monster figures as being from 1985, and that can't be. They're obviously inspired by Playmates toys, and particularly there's one particular Playmates toy that's an obvious lift from Playmates, and we'll look at that in a little bit, but that confirms that these have to be at least early 90s or later. There's one Playmates toy that is just completely ripped off, but you'll see that in a few minutes. So there's no real information about Sungold, the company, where are they located, or who runs the company, or what's the history of the company. Now, maybe there's a private knockoff collectors group, like a discussion group, you know, a forum where there are private threads that go all into the detailed history of Sungold. But I don't have access to that, and I did look at knockoff Facebook groups and knockoff websites, and I couldn't find any information about the history of Sungold, nor have I ever heard anyone talking about the history of Sungold. So it's kind of a mystery, as are a lot of these knockoff companies. I don't know if it's just the information can't be found, or if the people who are interested in it don't have the desire to research it, and just the research-minded collectors haven't caught up with it yet. Maybe in a few years there'll be interviews with the founder of Sungold and all kinds of information that is just not available, readily available right now. So I wish I could give you, historical background on Sungold. I don't have that information. But they're known for making knockoffs of other toys. They don't do a lot of really original stuff. They just make knockoffs, bootlegs, copycat toys of other popular lines, cheaper versions for dollar stores, junk stores, etc. Now remember that little blank spot. There's variants of these cards, and on some of these cards in that little blank spot, you'll find SG for Sungold, and we'll see a card that has that. And other ones, like the ones I have, the set that I have, all of them are just blank. I have an extra thing that has the SG logo that I'll show you, but all these that I'm going to show you, all the monster figures, have the blank spot. And I don't know why that is, why some have the Sungold logo, some don't. The ones sold in the UK have a sticker in that spot that says kid stuff. So in the United Kingdom, they were distributed by a company called Kid Stuff. The biggest variation on the cards would be the German cards. In Germany, they were distributed by a company called Simba. S-I-M-B-A, Simba. Those cards are very interesting. I wish I had one to show you, and in fact, I was going to do this episode last year, and I delayed it because I thought I would buy some of those other cards to include. But, you know, they're $100+ each, and I just haven't, it hasn't been a good time to spend that money on them. And finally I said, you know, if I'm ever going to do this episode, I better just go ahead and do it. And I'll just talk to you about the variants. The German cards, they are dark blue with a nighttime scene of a haunted house on a hilltop and a spooky tree. And instead of just monster, they say monster vampire. Monster vampire. There's nothing different about the figures for the most part, but the name is monster vampire instead of just monster. And on the back, oh, it's Billy. Oh, that's it. Billy, come back. Yeah, did you hear that meow? You can come back up here. Come on. Oh, well, maybe he'll come back. That's the first time he's been here in a long time. Since, I don't know what, middle of last season. Well, maybe he'll come back. So, as I was saying, the Simba cards. They have that dark blue nighttime haunted house artwork on the front. On the back, they have pictures of the other figures, just like we saw on the brick wall card. But on the Simba card, they're named. The figures are individually named. And these names are interesting. Hi, this is Future Raymond, interrupting this program so that I can bring you some special images that I did not have when I originally shot the episode. These pictures were supplied by my friend Andrew Williams. This is a Simba Sungold Monster card. This is the haunted house card that I was talking about. You can see the nighttime haunted mansion artwork. Very different from the brick wall Sungold cards. And on the back, you see how the characters have these weird, cute little names. That's unique to the Simba card. I want to thank Andy for supplying these photos. This Simba Sungold monster is an item in his magnificent collection. And one of these days, hopefully, we'll see more of his collection on this program. And even though the names are only on the Simba cards, collectors use these names to refer to all the characters, whether they're on the brick wall cards or the Simba cards or whatever. The mummy is called Bloody Mummy. Let me show you the pictures as instead of me just reading these off. Let's look at the pictures while we're doing this. It was nice to see Billy. I wish he would pop up more often. Okay, so let's take a look while we're saying this. There we go. That is the Bloody Mummy, even though he doesn't have any blood on him. And then this guy is the Killing Beast. Killing Beast. He's sort of a cross between the Hunchback of Notre Dame and the Toxic Avenger. Toxie. And then we've got Sharp Hand Joe. Obviously he's Freddy Krueger in a Where's Waldo outfit, but the character's name in the toy line is Sharp Hand Joe. The werewolf is the Midnight Wolf. I like that name, Midnight Wolf. Kind of reminds me of the Thriller Graveyard Gang figures with Midnight Mike. And then there's a Howling Wolf in that line. Let's see. This Frankenstein is called Green Frankie. That is the name. Green Frankie. Green Frankie. And this guy is King of Vampires. It's Dracula. He's King of Vampires. And that Dracula is the figure that's a direct copy of a Playmates figure, which we'll talk about when we look at that Dracula. And that's what dates him for sure. I don't think Playmates copied their figure off the Dracula. I think it's the other way around. So those are the names that are on the back of the Simba cards. And there's some variants like on the figures, like Sharp-Hand Joe, the Freddy Krueger, the Simba card. The figure that comes on the Simba card has the blades connected, and it looks almost like a shovel. And on the one you're going to see, the blades are separate, like they should be. And there's a head variant on Dracula. I hesitate to say much about that because I think I might give you incorrect information. But I believe there's a head variant on Dracula, and I have seen it. But without more knowledge, I don't want to go too far into that. Just know that there's a different head for Dracula out there. He can come with two heads. One is much more common than the other. Let's see. The heads themselves are soft and squishy. You'd think they'd be plastic, PVC. They're squishy, which makes these even more appealing to me. I think all action figures should have squishy heads. I'm disappointed that the modern Mego figures don't really have squishy heads. They're soft. I mean, you can squeeze them, but not that much. And NECA figures, forget it. You can't squish those heads. I think it's always better when you can squish the action figure's head. That makes for a nicer toy. There's a set of, well, there's 12 figures, 12 characters. There's a set of 6 2-packs, and we'll talk about that last. And those are different from the rest of these. One interesting aspect to half of this line, the pose on these is taken from the Marx figurines from the 60s. So here's an example. This Frankenstein, see how he's posed? They didn't just randomly select that pose with the one arm like this and the other arm extended. It's based on the Louis Marx 1960s Universal Monsters figurines, which we've covered on this show. So the Marx Frankenstein has a pose very similar to this Sungold Frankenstein. Clearly not a coincidence. There's 2 other figures like that. Let's look at the next one. Okay, this is Midnight Wolf, and for some reason I've got 2 Midnight Wolves, and I don't know why. They're the same figure. There's no difference. It's not like the logo is different or something. There's no variation in the figure. I don't know why I have 2 Midnight Wolves, but he's probably my favorite character of the line, so that's a good enough reason, I guess. Maybe that's why I have 2. I just said I like him so much. Let's have 2. And he's the most serious looking one, I think. I could imagine this figure in an absolutely straight, serious Universal Monsters action figure line. I don't think you'd have to change very much. There's Midnight Wolf. He looks very authentic. I mean, he looks like the Universal Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman. He's got good colors. And I think this is one of the figures that's based on the Marx pose. If I'm wrong, I'll just cut this out. But I think Wolfman is also based on the 60s Marx figurine pose. And it does look that way, but you'd have to repose him with his arms up and copy the figurine's pose. I think that's why the legs are bent. Now let's see I don't think there's a difference in these, but let's just take a look at this one. No. This bubble's turning yellow. That's the only difference I see. Nope, no difference. That's the other one. Same figure. I don't know if you can tell on the screen that the bubble's yellowing. The rest in the card's a little bent. So maybe I had this one first. I wasn't happy with the condition, and then I got that one. I don't know. I don't remember buying a second one. You know, it was probably 20 years ago. I've had these a long time. Now, I remember when you could buy these things for $15 each. Nobody wanted them. It was like late 90s. They were practically new then, in the mid-90s. So, yeah, nobody really cared. And I remember having the opportunity to buy them for like $35 each and saying, I don't think so. And that's probably a good thing, because I did end up getting them for next to retail price. I mean, not retail store price, but less than what a lot of action figures today cost, certainly. I don't remember what they were, but they were less than $35 each, I know that. Or I probably wouldn't have them now. And I got them all at one time. So I did pretty good. But like I said, I passed on these when they were more expensive. When they were the whopping price of $35 each, I said, I don't think so. Now they're a lot more than that. They're awfully nice condition, these things. It's like factory, like you took them out of the factory box. They're factory fresh. That's what I was looking for. They're really nice. Look at these crystal clear bubbles and beautiful card. This one's unpunched. And it probably was like store stock when I bought them. It was probably a guy who had like cases of them. He was just trying to move them out the door. That is Killing Beast. Doesn't it look ferocious? And he does have a hunchback. He's got elements of Quasimodo. Particularly his costume looks like kind of medieval, like Quasimodo. But the character design is definitely from the Toxic Crusaders universe. You can tell from the illustration, he's intended to be a Toxic Crusader type toy. And the Toxic Crusaders were in stores, the Playmates figures, so I'm sure these were meant to be played with alongside those figures. These were additional Toxic Crusaders that didn't cost as much. I imagine these were $1 each when they were brand new in dollar stores, probably 99 cents each. And Toxic Crusaders weren't that much more. I don't remember the price, but back, I can't imagine they were more than $5 each, probably not that much. Because I used to buy everything Playmates put out, and I had a pretty good handle on what those things cost, and they were not very expensive. When there was a new shipping case of Playmates figures at Target, because I used to work at Target in the toy department, every time there'd be a new box of Turtles, I just bought the box. It was a new assortment. Not everyone that came in the store, no. But when there was a new assortment with new characters, I just bought everything. I was swimming in Turtles at one point, back when nobody wanted Turtles. And I had Toxic Crusader, everything. I had the entire set of Toxic Crusaders, you know, original retail. I didn't buy them on the collector market. I bought them at Target. And I had the entire set of those. I don't have those now, unfortunately. Don't have the Turtles, don't have the Toxic Crusaders. I've just got Toxie himself. I kept him. I think I had doubles on him. But then I sold the rest of the Toxic Crusaders, like, I don't know, late 90s probably for not much more than I paid for them. And I like that line. I wouldn't mind having a Toxic Crusaders collection, Playmates, now, but you can go on eBay and look at the prices they're going for. So that's probably not going to happen. And it's a good thing I have these, because the prices these are going for, I wouldn't own these now. He's a really weird pose, the way they've got him posed in this bubble. I mean, I hope he's going to endure like that. It looks like that bubble could pop off someday. They really squished him in there. It's because of his hunchback. Kind of reminds me of the Lincoln hunchback. You couldn't really fit him in the bubble on the Lincoln Monster cards, so they gave him this. I mean, if they had made him properly with a real hunchback, they wouldn't have been able to fit him. So they gave him this little pillow, this little cushion, if you could even call it that, that's strapped to his back, and it was really thin. There's barely a hunch to it. So my brother and I think he owned the hunchback. I had the Lincoln Mummy. He had the Lincoln Hunchback, and we stuffed the hunchback, the back of his costume, with toilet paper. We just stuffed it to give him a big hump, so he would look appropriate, like the hunchback. But Lincoln didn't make him that way. They made him with a little cushion. It was so flat it didn't even stick out. And we see why, because when you have a hunchback toy that has to fit on the same kind of package as the rest of the series of monsters, he's going to stick out. And that can be a problem. This is the Bloody Mummy, and he's another one that is based on the Marx figurine pose. The 60s Marx Monsters, licensed Universal Monsters. They made a Karis mummy figure, and the pose on that mummy is obviously what inspired the pose on this mummy. Here's the Bloody Mummy. He's cool. He almost looks like he looks like the mummy in the Paul Naschy movie Assignment Terror. Doesn't he look like that? Yeah, he kind of has that look. I don't think he's supposed to look like that, but that's what he reminds me of. He does not look like a Universal mummy. He does have that sort of Spanish horror, Mexican horror, indie horror movie kind of dollar store mummy. Not just dollar store toy, but I mean like a movie, like a cheap makeup effect for a movie. But he's pretty cool. He might be my second favorite of the line. And his pose is definitely inspired by the Marx mummy, for sure. It's especially obvious with his, what would be his, is it his right hand? Yeah, his right arm, the way it's bent like that. That's reminiscent of the Marx mummy. Oh, he's cute. Yeah, I like the Midnight Wolf, and I like this mummy a lot. I should have a second mummy. Well, I should have a few of the Simba ones. That'd be nice. I was gonna buy them, but the prices just scared me away. I was gonna buy them just for this episode so I could show them to you, but I looked at the prices and I'm like, I don't think so. I cheaped out. Okay, let's look at King of Vampires. And you know, these episodes, for the most part, they're not intended to be the end-all, the last word on information on these toys. If I were going to write an article for, like, I don't know, Toy Ventures, or a chapter of a book or something about these toys, I would dig in a lot harder and at least get photos of some of these variants and try to get some more information. But this is just our little toy time. We're just visiting. It's like Mr. Rogers' Haunted Neighborhood. I'm just here in my basement sharing some toys with you because, you know, we got nothing better to do as we all wait to die in this crazy world. Why not just look at some toys? Now, his bubble is yellowing. I don't like that at all. That's the first one. I mean, besides that Wolfman. Okay, so that's the second one that's had some yellowing. It's the evil of Dracula that's making it yellow. Dracula is just so evil that he makes the plastic yellow. It's kind of like the movie Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, the Hammer film, whenever Dracula's on screen. There's that filter effect to depict the evil of Dracula. Okay, there's King of Vampires. And he looks like a vampire from a Mexican vampire film. I could imagine him in something like World of the Vampires. He's got that crazy outfit. Now, that outfit, that body, is an obvious ripoff of the Playmates Toxic Crusaders figure, Dr. Killamoff. Dr. Killamoff from 1991. I used to have Dr. Killamoff. I used to have all the Toxic Crusaders. And his body is pretty much what you're looking at there. It's obviously a knockoff of the Dr. Killamoff body. Now, Dr. Killamoff has 4 arms. And this Dracula has 2, but if you see them side by side, there's no doubt that they took this body from Dr. Killamoff, which means these figures are no earlier than 1991. Certainly not from the 80s. They have to be at least 1991 or later. That is the King of Vampires in his slightly yellowed bubble. I don't like that. I think I need to do something about that. All the rest of them are in such nice bubbles. Why is his bubble yellowing? It's not like he's been exposed to anything the other ones haven't been exposed to. Or maybe he has. I don't know. These were stored in an open face box. They didn't have a lid on it. So they're in a box and they're just kind of stacked in there. Maybe he was in the front. Maybe that's what's going on. He's unpunched. Several of these are unpunched. unpunched. Well, if I see a nice Dr. Killmoff, if I see a nice Dracula with a clear bubble, I might pick him up. Here's Sharp Hand Joe. Sharp Hand Joe. Where is Waldo Freddy Krueger? He is not unpunched. His little tab is falling out. I don't think he was ever on a peg hook, but it's falling out. And the bubble's nice and clear. That's good. That's good to see. There he is. I think he generally is the most expensive one. I've seen some cuckoo prices on him. I don't know if it's really warranted. Probably not. I don't think he's really any rarer than the rest, but I've seen some goofy prices on him. He looks like a wise guy, Freddy Krueger. He looks like he's gonna, like some of these other characters, he's on this brick wall, he's gonna hide in an alley and mug you. He's not gonna be in your dreams. He's just gonna mug you in an alley. It's like, this is a stick up, give me your wallet. He looks like he just looks like a ruffian. And there's the Freddy Krueger glove with the separate blades on the Simba card, the German Simba card. The blades are connected like a shovel. They're not separated like that. And he doesn't have any Marx counterpart, as far as I know, and he's not ripped off of some other action figure. He's obviously somewhat ripped off of Where's Waldo with that outfit. He's got a Where's Waldo outfit. And you know, that is exactly the kind of thing Freddy Krueger would do. He would enter someone's dream and pose as Where's Waldo, and they'd have to find him, and he'd laugh at them and kill them. Where's Waldo, Freddy Krueger, Sharp Hand Joe. And of course, that reminds me of Coffin Joe with his sharp fingernails. He could also be called Sharp Hand Joe. He's a cute figure, this Freddy. And the Where's Waldo color scheme gives it some novelty. Who knows what these people were thinking when they came up with these designs, or that crazy artwork on the card. So we're down to one more thing I want to show you. Sungold made a series of 6 2-packs. So there's 12 characters total. I only have this one, and it's just down to price. I got this really cheap. How do I open this? There we go. I got this really cheap, and that's why I was able to have it. But usually these 2-packs go for more money than I want to spend. I'm just not comfortable with what they go for. Good grief, what did I do with this thing? I made sure this was not coming out of here. Finally. There. Now this does have the Sungold logo. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. It has a brick wall, but it's different artwork. It's not the same brick wall. It says Monster. On the back, yeah, just made in China. Nothing, no artwork on the back, unfortunately. So here is this 2-pack. Now there's 6 of these 2-packs. 6 cards, each with 2 different figures, so 12 figures. And this is the only one I've got. And there's Freddy again. A little version of Freddy. I think this is the only figure in this mini monster line that has a counterpart in the larger figure line. I don't think this 2-pack line, these mini monsters, I don't think there's a mummy or a Wolfman or a Dracula in this line. I think the only figure in this small line that corresponds to any in the bigger line is this Freddy. And this is like some kind of weird road warrior zombie with a mix of apocalyptic attire and medieval attire, just kind of mixed up there. He's got a skull face and but flesh on his bones. I don't know what's going on there. He's some crazy apocalyptic zombie. And you can see that the artwork is different. It's got a brick wall, but it's a very different artwork. Different characters. Same idea, same theme. And so there's the Sungold logo. So there, you can find the big figures, the individual card figures, with that logo. That's the logo I was talking about earlier. Whereas mine have that blank spot, you can find card variants that have this logo where that blank spot is. That is the official Sungold logo. All of these cards, this brick wall artwork, it has this urban quality. It's very different from the Simba cards that are more gothic. These are very urban. It's almost like Escape from New York. You've got the city in there and this wall. I think this wall, is it keeping creatures in or keeping them out? Is it keeping the monsters out of the city? Or is this like a city of the damned and it's keeping the monsters in the city? Because this guy, he's on the side of where the city is located. So he's coming out from the city. So it seems like they're escaping from the city. Make this wall trying to keep them in the city. And they're escaping and coming in to get you. We need to send Snake Plissken in there to clean them out. I don't think the barbed wire is stopping anything. These monsters are just coming through the wall. They're sticking their heads and their hands through the wall. There's nothing on the back, just cardboard. You know, nothing significant down there. No pictures of the other monsters in the line. Unfortunately, that would be cool if they had all the other characters lined up there and names for all of them. I don't think I'll ever own another one of these. They're too expensive and I don't like them enough. What is that? Best Toy. What's Best Toy? Is that a retail chain? I don't know. But I don't like them enough to pay the prices that they command. If I could get them cheap like this one, sure, I'd have some more, but I'm not going to pay what they go for. It's cool to have this one because it's got the Freddy Krueger character in it. So it's just nice to have it as an example of what they look like. I got this for, it was relatively inexpensive compared to what they usually go for. It was definitely half price or less. And so that's why I said, oh, okay, why not? I should have bought a few more. I think I could have bought a few more at that price, but I didn't. I just really wanted this one because I had the Freddy character. So that is all I have to show you for that line. I remember when those were new in the 90s and there was some buzz about them, but no one really knew what to make of them. And it's interesting, 30 years later, people still don't know what to make of them. They're still kind of mysterious and we don't really have a lot of information. As far as I know, there's no interviews with the Sungold president talking about why they made these or what their thinking was, or no interviews with the designer or the card illustrator. There's just no backstory. There's no context. The toys exist. That's pretty much all there is. There they are. There's the toys. And if you like them, collect them. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot of history to go into. I don't know if we'll do it this season, but I do have other similar knockoff action figures that you'll probably see. The thing is that I like to show you complete sets, so if I'm missing one or two in the set, I don't want to present it until I have the complete set. But these things can sell for a lot of money, so trying to complete that set, it can be daunting. But I do think you'll be seeing more figures in the same vein in the future, probably. I don't know if it'll be the near future, but I think you will be seeing other things like this. I guess that's enough. Let's wrap this up. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you're here. Until next time, the one who dies with the most toys is dead.